I appreciate it very much, and I'll introduce our next speaker. The gentleman just speaking was Ted Holmes, who is our current county commissioner for District 2. Ted has announced that he's stepping down. He's not going to run again. I'm going to try and talk him out of that, but he says he's going to. His wife is telling me no, but he says he's going to stick out to the end of his term, and we certainly hope so. But since his position is open, there are a number of people that have filed to run for District 2 County Commissioner. And I just want to introduce a couple of them. Marla Lawson is here. Marla. And further back behind her is Brent Adamson. And the next speaker I'm going to talk, or have come up and talk, is Rick Aspril, who's running for County Commissioner for District 2. Rick, would you like to come up? He'll probably tell you about it. He's got a heck of a good background. He's got experience in the EMS field and city engineering field, so he could be a lot of help. We need to get him on the commission.
Don't be nervous. Well, I got a little nervous when he stole all my. I got a little nervous when he stole all my thunder, and there go my notes. I'm checking off item by item by item. I think I'll have a lot of literature as soon as I get it back from the printers. My name is Rick Aspril. I'm from Garden Valley. I'm a conservative Christian constitutionalist. And if you have trouble hearing me, if my grandchildren stayed another week, I just took them back to the airport yesterday and have absolutely no voice. But anyway, I've talked to people in my district, and the reason I am running for District 2 is because of the same concerns you folks have here in Horseshoe Bend. To give you a little bit of my background, I spent 10 years as the officer in charge of a paramedic rescue squad in Chicago. I started off as an EMT. I've talked to EMTs in town, and believe me, if you've never been an EMT with any experience, you have no clue what these people put up with and the lives they save as EMTs. I believe we give these people the training and the equipment, the medical EMS with upgrade overnight. And as Warren had mentioned, like I said, I didn't need to bring my index card. I think Warren had a copy of it. The people are very willing to go for the training, get the equipment, and there's a way around everything. And I believe that the grant writer that have been mentioned earlier, we can find ways to make it happen. My wife would be here. I've been married 20 years, and we have 11 grandchildren, or 6 children, 11 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren.
All right.
So, Garden Valley is a great place to retire, except I'm not ready to retire. I've gone 200 miles an hour all my life, and I thought I was ready, but I'm not. I went to the meet and greet up in Crouch the other night and listened to the public reaction, and I've never applied or tried to be a politician or run for office or anything like that. I've usually watched the Republican committees vetting, and those are the ways I feel that we're getting past this rhino issue that exists. Years ago, when I thought of a place to retire, I've got family up in Coeur d'Alene, Meridian, Ted in Loman. They all wanted to get us out here, and I just Googled in what is the state most likely to stay red forever, and Idaho was number 2 on the list. I'm finding out that we all need to get together and keep Horseshoe Bend, Garden Valley, Boise County the way it is. We don't need major change. That's the reason we moved here. We want it to stay the way it is. And pro-military, pro-gun, all the amendments. My wife's been a teacher for 21 years. She made a, I would say, a degree in, or I should say a master's degree with honors in psychology. And she taught AP psychology, child development, a couple other different types of classes in high school for 23 years. And I've got a real good idea of what is going on with our education system and the direction that it's going. And it's not going to make any of us happy. I believe family values should be left up to the family. And one thing I can say now too is I've never been in a town where when everyone drives by they wave like they do here and up in Garden Valley, and it's a real tight-knit group. But this shirt will never turn blue.
Amen.
And I'll get better at public speaking, I have a feeling too. But my point being that I knew, and I prayed about it, and my wife prayed, I think, against it. Then she started praying for it. But she said, you've got to stand up because you're retired, you have the time to do it, and you're driving me crazy. Anyhow, I'm not a politician, and I asked the folks at the table if I started sounding like one. Anyhow, after the fire department and the fact that when in the city of Chicago the violence became such a level, and they found out that we carried morphine, the painkiller, that type of thing, and a number of other different drugs, we became targets. And I lost a couple of my good friends when my daughters were born. I said it's time to get out of Chicago before they know how to read what's written on the walls of the alleys. And needless to say, I want to do the job as commissioner in District 2 to the best of my ability. I'll always answer your calls. I don't admit to knowing everything, but I can learn more and more of the issues that you feel are issues and address them. Warren also stole my thunder. I thought I'd come up here with the EMS thing and also talk about the first thing I noticed at the first commissioners meeting I attended. There were no cameras. People need to have their 3 minutes. You can order a brand new pickup truck. You can buy a house on your phone. Why can't we access our government and what's being done in our area? The other thing I would recommend would be that if you have comment, that you have your 3 minutes, it's recorded, it's archived, and if a politician says they're going to do something, you can go back to a meeting 6 or 8 months ago and say, what happened? In other words, what I'm saying is real transparency.
Yeah.
But I wish I had a lot to go on, but... Oh, yes. 35 years in civil engineering. I've worked for county, state governments, 21 years as a civil servant for local municipalities, and everything from starting with curb and gutter and simple inspections to building $300 million improvements on the freeway systems. I was the lead inspector on that. I would say a watchdog of the taxpayers' money, and it's very easy to save money. All you have to do is try. So that's about all I really have to say, but more to come.
Sir, I got a quick question for you. Currently, the Horseshoe Bend Commissioner is serving on the Central District Health Board, as Mr. Grover explained earlier. So I guess this question is for you and Mr. Grover. Do either of you plan to get onto that board or participate? Given that the current events and how the health board has been able to kind of steer the direction of politics for specific mandates?
I'll get on any board I have to meet the will of the people that I've been talking to in my area. And if that means getting on another board, and it takes another day, that's what it's going to take. But we can talk about firefighters, we can talk about emergency medical personnel. Until you've been one, you don't know what it is to be one. I've been one, and I know what they're up against. And the better training, if it needs another committee to be on, absolutely. Because I've already learned from many people on the fire up in Garden Valley where we're at, and EMTs save lives. EMTs also wish they had the paramedic abilities to save those they couldn't. And we're talking about human lives. I got into construction. If something was wrong, you could rip it out and do it again. We're talking human life. I'll join a dozen committees to help that. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
A little bit of the development with respect to fire protection. We have grass fires because of development in the foothills. We also have two-story buildings on laterals. What's your thoughts on what you do to do some standards like the types and quantity of fire responsibilities?
Well, we talk about growth and managing growth. We have to have the infrastructure to do it. When it comes to fire, and it comes to building, and it comes to, do we need this ladder truck, do we need a snorkel, what do we need? I'm going to be talking to the people that are in charge of these different fire committees and find out what they need, what can we afford, how can we do it. And as Warren mentioned earlier, the grant writers are out there. Unfortunately, we don't have one right now that is going after that type of resources. But growth has to be controlled. You know, I started looking at the number of people in our county and the amount of emergency medical services we have right now. What happens on the weekend when that number doubles, or the vacation periods during the year? We have to be ready for that too. I don't want someone in Garden Valley to call an ambulance that isn't available because we don't have enough service. So to grow, you have to grow with the growth.
You're talking about grant writers, writing the grants, but how are you going to ensure that when they write a grant, the match is going to be available? Because usually when you write a grant, you get an 80% or 50% federal funding. You also have to make sure that the municipality provides match.
Sure,
And
absolutely.
I've heard on numerous occasions where, our city has gotten grants, but they haven't provided any. So I'm trying to figure out how you would go about it.
Well, the problem I've always had is I could never spend more than was in my checking account.
Right. How would you plan, how would you plan? When you write a grant, there has to be some planning involved.
Absolutely.
Budget set up and so on and so forth.
Well, with the amount that I've looked at, amount of the budget that I've looked at and the reserves that I've looked at, I would get with whatever department it is, or whatever type of grant it is. And if it's too heavy of a matching fund, we have to ask for a smaller grant and do it in steps or stages. We can't do more than we can afford. And I never thought I'd say this, but I'm on Medicare, and I'm on a fixed budget now. Life is different, and I'm talking to a lot of people that are concerned that, hey, we want this, we want that, we want everything, and you know, naturally, you would. But when the difference of $100 or two with taxes or whatever it might be is the difference between you being able to stay in your home on your own if you're getting older, or have to rely on your family. I've been going through some of that with my own family. So you can only spend what you have.
Recently went through a conversation that when asked about a project, they were going to approve the project before the year's budget. Do you see that as good fiscal responsibility?
I see that as the opposite of fiscal responsibility. And as a conservative, fiscally conservative, you can't spend more than you have. And you have to have something in reserve by the same time. Does that answer the question?
Thank you very much.